Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is SKTV coming to you live from Phoenix, Arizona. My name is Sekou Kene. As always, today is Monday, January 29, 2024. I want to say thank you to all of you for joining SKTV again this wonderful Monday. Precisely it's 11:33 here in Arizona. I want to say thank you to all of you for following and joining us. If you are in Africa, whether it's Liberia, anywhere, I want to say good evening. And if you are in Asia, whether you're in Australia or anywhere around the world where it's in the morning, we want to say good morning to you. And of course, if you are in these United States and you are around the East Coast or the Midwest, we want to say good afternoon. And of course, if you are in the Phoenix area, Arizona, Los Angeles, California, or you are in Las Vegas, Nevada, or somewhere in the Northwest, you're in Seattle, Washington, or you're in Portland, Oregon, we want to say good morning. We want to say thank you to all of you for joining SKTV this wonderful Monday. I want to encourage each and every one of you to share the show because today we listen to a part of the speech, the State of the Nation's address by the current president of the Republic of Liberia, Joseph Nyuma Boakai. So I want to encourage all of us to share the show so we can start this conversation. There are a lot of things to unpack, and there were a lot of breaking news in the speech. And I believe Joseph Boakai carefully, look at these things that he said before they were inserted into the speech. I believe he meant what he says. But again, we will be here to analyze it in detail. But I want to encourage all of us, everybody, to share the show. Share it with your friends, share it with your colleagues, share with everybody. By the way, we are going to be playing some part of the speech so we can digest and somehow give detailed analysis of what we listen to. I mean, it sounded great, but it's one thing to say something and quite another thing to implement it. And hopefully, Dr. Nyuma Boakai will implement everything that he says, especially when it comes to the issue of accountability, when it comes to the issue of audit. And some of the most interesting things in the speech are areas where he talked about how much money we as government said they left and what was precisely left for them. These are important contrasts wherein we can all look at it and make our own judgment. I think this is a very beautiful movie to watch. So let's try to share the show while we listen to a part of this speech. So let's do this. We will look at the body language. We'll look at everything.
Mr. Vice President, allow me to recognize the presence of the Vice President of Sierra Leone, who is here with a message from my friend and brother, the President Julius Mara Bio, President of the Republic of Sierra Leone. Madam President Pro Tempore, members of the legislature, Madam Chief Justice and Justice of the Supreme Court, the Doyen and members of the Diplomatic Corps, heads and officials of political parties, representatives of our international and development partners, prelates and imams, our traditional leaders, members of the full estate, my fellow Liberians, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. We are thankful to the Lord Almighty, the preserver of our state, for his abundant blessings upon us. As the world confronts various crises, wars, pandemics, climate change, and migration, we pray for better, more peaceful, sustainable, and inclusive global order. Exactly 1 week ago, Vice President Jeremiah Kuhn and I took the oath of office as an array of the world leaders, friends, and citizens of Liberia, the home and in the diaspora, looked on. That solemn occasion marked another historical moment in our democracy as we carried out the transfer of power. In obedience to our constitutional duty, it is an honor to come before this august body, the people's representative, to report on the national situation as we met it and present our agenda for development in the coming year. We must acknowledge the harsh realities that face us as we report that the state of our nation is not what we desire. It is important to note problems that confront us: poverty, drug epidemic, corruption, poor infrastructure, and an underperforming economy. The current challenges present us a unique opportunity to embark on a new journey of hope. This is our commitment to rescue the nation. Our vision as revealed in ARREST, ARREST, meaning agriculture, roads, rule of law, education, sanitation, and tourism, shall guide the preparation of our new medium-term national development plan. For the welfare of our people, we must harness opportunities in agriculture, roads, and other infrastructure development, improve the rule of law, think the education sector, improve sanitation, and unlock the potential of tourism. We believe that creating economic linkages between these development facets and reinforcing them will help reverse the years of economic downturns. The state of the economy. The state of the economy is a cause for concern, with many of our citizens facing perennial unemployment and economic instability. We must not just recognize the pain and frustration that permeate our society, but also work together to introduce and pass legislations that will prioritize economic reforms and foster sustainable economic growth and job creation. Distinguished legislators, economic growth slowed between 2022 and 2023 from 4.8% to 4.6%. The rate of growth averaged about 1.5% compared with 3.1% between 2012 and 2017, due in part to an underperforming economy and existing geopolitical global environment. During the past 6 years, the economy faced challenges in terms of growth, job creation, and poverty reduction. Inflation during the period 2023 rose to 10.1% at the end of December from 7.6% in 2022. Revenue collection, as reported for 2023, stood at $710.23 million, while expenditure totaled $796.32 million. Hence, a large budget deficit of over $80 million. We intend to change the state of the economy by thinking outside the box. A paradigm shift away from reliance on our primary commodity export to.
So we pause the video there just to take some note. Whether you pay attention to that, I'm not sure. The revenue reported by the government, it seems like the expenditure was more than the revenue. Let's just go back to that just for a few seconds. If not 1 minute, let's go back to that to understand what that means. So that way we can, together be able to give our honest analysis on the nation address by the president.
Inflation during the period 2023 rose to 10.1% at the end of December from 7.6% in 2022. Revenue collection, as reported for 2023, stood at $710.23 million, while expenditure totaled $796.32 million. Hence, a large budget deficit of over $80 million. We intend to change the state of the economy by thinking outside the box. A paradigm shift away from reliance on our primary commodity export to focusing on value addition with the private sector as the engine to drive the economy. Under my administration, the empowerment of the Liberian entrepreneurship through more support will help bring back the Made in Liberia quest for inclusive and sustainable growth and jobs. In our quest to expand the economy, we encourage information communication technology, ICT, and the job creation, especially for the youth. To achieve this, my administration will train up to 10,000 young people in various digital skills in the first half of 2024. The Liberian middle class goal will be a reality in the next 6 years. The next net international reverses position reported at the end of December 2023 was $220 million. The report of US 40 million as the GOL's consolidated account balance as of January 19, 2024 is not supported by the fact. The balance reported by the CBL as of the same date was 20.5 million, highly incumbent, not $40 million. To this end, we will re-emphasize our earlier commitment to audit and show that regular audits will be held across all branches. Regular audit will be the culture across all branches of government, not only the executive.
Okay, folks, we want to say thank you to all of you for following SKTV. And I think my colleague is here, one of my colleagues is here. That is the Brazilian Monk. Monk, how are you doing? And what is your take from the State of Nation address from President Joseph Nyimabwakai?
Well, I'm doing okay. I followed the speech today. Usually I look for the transcript, but it was a very short speech, so I decided to spend at least 26 minutes going over the speech itself. And the president made a lot of recommendations, and he spoke on a lot of issues. I just think most of them are not feasible, and the facts are just not there. You know, in Liberia, I don't know how our economists can tabulate numbers, because when you look at Madam Salif administration, for 12 years, you would say that the average budget was between $550 to $620 million. If George Weah government can bring in revenue of $710 million and people complain that they are worse off than Madam Salif, I don't know who put these numbers together and how they calculate the inflation rate or whatsoever, because if you're talking about 10% inflation, then how do you, and people are complaining that they are worse off than 6 years earlier, how do you raise, in terms of budget, how do you raise revenue by more than 200 million? Where the money coming from? I really don't get it, or I don't know where they can just cook the numbers.
And now we know where the money is coming from, but why is it it's not impacting
it's not impacting the ordinary life?
Ordinary people.
Yeah, you telling me that you got a budget deficit of 86 million because your expenditure alone was 796 million. That's $750 million. But the average president Liberia think that they are worse off on Georgia, or they were worse off far way more than Madam Salif. I don't get it. It just doesn't make sense to me. And the president making a lot of promises. You're talking about digital skills. If you train 10,000 young people for digital skills, I mean, which job are you going to give them? So where you be sending them? Because I don't know when you say digital skills, like, because you got to be having jobs ready. When you're going to train people in IT and technology, then it means you got to be having something waiting for them. But I don't know how the government's going to do that, but we wait to see. Because I just believe most of them were just promises. The facts are not there. I just don't see it. He talked about cashless society. When you're talking about cashless society, you're talking about technically getting rid of cash. I don't know whether the infrastructure or the technology is there to even say transition to a cashless society. I don't know who read those people. Like, people just go on the internet this day and just take information and just put it out there. That's just why it seems like, because it just doesn't make sense. You can't even say get flush toilet at the legislature. You still peeping and flushing, you come up with bucket and you're talking about cashless society, and you don't have the basic infrastructure for technology. So it's like people just go on the internet, Google information, just pull it into speech, and just give it to the president to go and read, because they are just not possible for Liberia at the moment. Just a waste of time.
So what about the fact that 710 million was raised, 710.23 was the revenue.
Yeah, that was the revenue
by the government. And then what about the expenditure?
Yeah,
796.
That almost close to $800 million.
So what is the now I'm talking about the expenditure now.
Yes.
So if the expenditure is way more than, the income,
Yes.
the revenue, what does that say about the fiscal responsibility or understanding of the economy by the past government, Georgia government? Do we consider this a success?
I don't know how you consider that.
If you say you make, let's say you brought in 700 million, but you spend more than 700 million, should we call that gain?
Well, if you look at the previous administration, it gotta be a dramatic gain in terms of revenue creation. I mean, or generation, right? But like I said, it just doesn't add up. If you're telling me Georgia was able to raise in a tough economy where everything is stagnant, you don't have business coming in, you don't have investment being made, people are saying that they are worse off. How do you raise more than $250 million, way more than the previous administration, and people are telling that they are worse off prior to the previous 6 years, right? And now, one place that I see the contradiction is the whole thing about the CBL balance. You said that you have
I'm going to get to that because
it just doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. Like, you see, our politicians like bro, they make assumptions and they say things assuming that the rest of the country people are just stupid. That you can just say anything and we're supposed to accept it. I mean, how can you make an argument? Now you're telling me that you raised way more than $750 million, but now the CBL balance, it came from 40 million to just $20 million. That will be left for the next government to come and inherit. That's why I don't believe in State of the Union for an incoming president, because you really don't know the rest State of the Union.
Maybe you didn't understand that part. I think he's not even saying that it came from 40 to 20 million. He's saying what was reported by Georgia government to them.
And the CBL report.
Listen, I know. Let me just tell you now. Maybe you didn't get that part. He's saying Georgia government reported, that was referenced as GOL, Governor of Liberia, reported to them $40 million that's supposed to be in the account that they left for Joe Biden government. But CBL, that's the central bank now.
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
The number from the central bank where the money is supposed to be. That they're saying is 20.5 million.
Yeah, that's a contradiction. That's a huge discrepancy.
So that means that trigger.
Yeah.
That trigger the automatic audit.
Yes.
You got a point?
Yeah.
So they are saying, Joe Biden is saying, the people said they left 40 million for us.
Yes.
In the central bank. But the central bank, what the central bank is reporting to us now is 20.5 million.
20.5.
That means that money is short by 19.5 million. So where is that 19.5 million? Where did it go?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And like we're saying the same thing. That's what he's saying.
No. The thing is, no, but you can't tell me that because he said of the same date. The same date, the number, because
the numbers,
they say, on this day, as of this date, this is how much we have in the account.
Yeah.
Then CBL is saying, central bank is saying, as of this same day, this is how much we have. So
got?
like what time interval to say, okay, maybe from the time George Weah then reported to Jason Imabwaga transitional team, that this is how much we left there. There was no time interval between them and how much CBLs they have. So in this case, it seems like Georgia government lied to Joseph Imabwaga government.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, Sekou, the discrepancy is almost half of the money gone.
Yeah.
So and they were reported the same day with no time interval in between.
Exactly.
So technically, Joseph Boaga is saying that the last Liberian people that they were leaving 40 million, but on their way out within 24 hours, they took another 20 million on their way out. That's why he's saying we should trigger audit.
Exactly. So that is automatic, audit. That trigger audit automatically. So now, my question to you, if the last time when the 25 million map up exercise happened, when when George Weah invited forensic audit. I don't know if you can remember the name
Yeah,
of
the
that.
cross report. I downloaded the report. I went through it. I mean,
Exactly.
the
So
audit.
me too, I have the report.
Yes.
But then in that report, they said there were no traceable system wherein they can trace the expenditure of the government, also how the money is coming in. There's no accounting principle,
Yes.
basic accounting principle
Mm-hmm.
put in place by the Georgia government, wherein it can trace the income versus the expenditure. That's what that report says.
And that's why they were inconclusive, because they were saying the central bank and the finance ministry and the economic management were not even transparent. Some of the numbers were even redacted. So the people say, but how can we conduct a forensic audit when you can't even give all the real number? We cannot even tell. So they let the report inconclusive. I can remember the cross report. You can remember vividly. You just said it right.
Yeah. So now my question to you: the IMF is also a part of the management team of the central bank. That started maybe halfway of Weah administration a few years ago. Do you think IMF will be aware, will be able to trace as to what happened to that almost $20 million right between December and January?
Well, they should be able to, because I believe it was one of the reasons that they sent teams of people to both the finance ministry and the central bank to work side by side by the government to keep track of this kind of a transaction, to provide some level of transparency. But the reason I always tell people on this show, I don't believe in the globalist institution, because for them, their interest is kind of a different from our interest. They will support a corrupt leader because they believe that when you are more corrupt, when you are taking loans, your interest rate is going to be high. So it's kind of a business for them, in as much as they are going to be there. They won't. You see, you will ask yourself, right? When these guys went on ground, when the Weah government depleted the reserve from the Federal Bank of New York, right, where Liberia had 157 million, you would think that IMF were going to put their foot down and deny Georgia of any other loan. But guess what? They were still giving an unlimited amount of money, because they know what they were charging them 38 cents on every dollar that was borrowed. So for the IMF, these people, they're only there for profit. They're not there for you. So they know about the transaction, but guess what? They love criminals and they love to play that game, because for them, it's a profitable business model, and the Liberian people will be the ones stuck with the debt for generations to come. That's just why it is. Because they cannot be there and tell me you cannot give accountability that within 24 hours, half of the reserve in the central bank is gone from an outgoing administration. So why Georgia Baga literally saying Georgia told us that he gave him up 40 million, but within 24 hours, almost 50% of that money was gone on their way out. So he literally saying that they took the money while they were going out in 24 hours time. And you want for me to believe something like that? I don't know.
Yeah, but that's why an audit is imminent. So, Steve, welcome. How are you doing?
Well, Mr. Kenneth, Monk, what's up, my man? To the Liberian people, good afternoon. As always, the Liberian people are the most important people on earth, but the Liberian women are the most beautiful women on earth. First thing I wanted to start off with, I just wanted to remind us that we raised the same concern on SKTV back to back. Let me remind you, then we're talking about the money business. We told the transitional team to keep the Liberian people abreast and informed.
For sure.
We told them.
You said it right. You was the one specifically.
So why is it the transitional team did not alarm this or did not say anything about this discrepancy or so? Why? When the George Weah then turned everything over to Joseph Yuma Boakane, because if you really look at it for true, Joseph Yuma Boakane, they empowered them. First the transitional team to what? They took over everything. They been running things. They were in charge. Mr. Kenneth, yesterday, I told you I'm not interested in Joseph Human Boaka's speech. And I told the Liberian people because I said he will lie. And for me, I don't believe in anybody pissing on my head and telling me they're winning. I don't do that. I think I'm too sound, alert, and oriented for anybody to play me like that. Now, if you play me based on my own ignorance, that's a different thing. But knowing what I know, seeing what I can see, hearing what I've heard, for you to play me, certain things happen today that people are not paying attention to. I agree with you among that they want to trigger, quote unquote, a trigger. But they want to trigger, quote unquote, an audit. And that's why I wrote on my page that President Joe Biden got jokes. He got jokes. Let's start first with President Joseph Boaka. Has he provided audit? Has he provided assets? Do we know what his assets are? Look, we're in a hopeless, doomed, plagued, food, and used stage again of our lives as Liberians. They will not condone no audit. Even if they conduct audit, it will just be Wigman Road, it will just be passing around. First of all, they will even start by saying they conduct the audit cost so and so, it costs this, it costs that. And that will just go away. CDC did not, let me say again, did not run away with 19.5 million in 24 hours. That's not true. That is not true. This Joseph Boaka government has demonstrated irresponsibility that they don't take account for anything. They don't take. Imagine the people who program that they mess up. They blaming other people. They say that CDC. I knew this day were coming where they would blame CDC, and that's why we put them on record on SKTV and told them they need to tell the Liberian people as the transitional process is going on, how much will be less, what's going on, how much money they get them, why they never raise their alarm. They had to wait for the
Steve, let me you will continue, but let me. I think I'm looking at it differently from what you're saying right now.
Sure, please.
You know when it comes to audit or when it comes to transition, you cannot report inconclusive project. Let's say the lifetime of that team is from when they were appointed to work alongside with the outgoing government up to the point where the incoming government will take over. Then they will compile their report and give it to the incoming government. It is now, I'm not sure if they were there, it is their place to report day by day as to what is going on. I think their place it was, I believe, after that, their place was that they will work with the outgoing government, document everything. That's why they date given by President Boaka now is not in conflict with the date given by George Weah. Because they are saying, George Weah is saying, as of this day, this is how much we get in the account to be left for the incoming government. The Boaka government is saying, according to their own report also that they get from the central bank. So that means we are outgoing government giving one information. The Boaka team working with them also get the same information from central bank. All of them indicating the same day. So what I'm trying to say here is that I don't think we can blame Joseph Boaka government for reporting this information now. I think this is the appropriate time. I don't think it was necessary, or that's how it worked for people to be reporting as day by day, because they were working. They did like a work in progress up to the term of your, of the committee Once that committee concludes their work, they compile all the information and give it to the incoming government. Then they will make comparative analysis as to what was given to them by George Weah and what was reported to them by their team. And then they came to find out that there are some discrepancy in the process. That's how I'm looking at it.
No,
Okay.
yeah, go ahead. You want go ahead, Steve. Go ahead.
No, go ahead first. Go first.
So, yeah, is where I got a problem with the whole report, right? That is why we need an independent body. If there will be an audit, it should be done from an independent and recognizable body instead of Bwaka's administration. Yeah, is why it doesn't make sense for an outgoing government to implicate himself. If Georgia government know that they are leaving within 24 hours and they are telling the Liberian people that, yeah, we're leaving $40 million, and within the same 24 hours, the Bwaka people are telling you that you got only 20 million, which is 50% of the reported amount that is on hand. The question would be, why will an outgoing administration implicate themselves within 24 hours? And if the outgoing administration is not forthcoming with documents to say transaction, everything, then how the Bwaka government was able to detect that they only got 20 of the 40s left?
Exactly. So Mr. Kenneth,
Yeah, so that means that can only be reported by the team. But
so,
the
Mr. Kenneth,
people are responsible to work and report to the government. I mean, to the two presidents. And now the men who carry the responsibility now, whether to believe or not to believe, whether to accept for what it is the incoming government. Now he's saying, I'm not satisfied with the report. So therefore, I'm going to audit this. So I think what we should be looking at this point is when and how the audit will be done and how transparent this audit will be with the Liberian people. Because we want to see exactly what's going on. We want to see fact. Like Steve said, maybe they're not going to audit, they're going to be running behind each other, they're going to attach, some monetary value about the process, all the kind of things. My belief is that our focus to be, okay, you say you're going to audit. When you're going to start the audit, how the audit is going to be conducted, how transparent is going to be this audit. Is the Liberian people going to be aware of the day-to-day or information of the audit? Are they going to be transparent about it? That should be our concern, I believe.
Mr. Kenneth, let me go back to what I said. Let me repeat myself. Joseph Bwaka and Unity Party are very irresponsible. Let me say again. Joseph Bwaka and Unity Party, they are an irresponsible bunch of people. The reason I say that is this. You can't have it both ways. We saw the same transitional things on them, giving press conference, telling us that everything was going good, and they were reporting. Well, if the report was inconclusive, why did they report part of it? Why did they not talk about the money part? Why did they not bring all of the part out? Let me say this. This is an irresponsible move to create an alibi for Joseph Bwaka and Unity Party to make excuse. I'm saying it, and they will come offer. What was said today was a lie. Joseph Bwaka again stood in public to the word and lied to the word. I know he's an old man. Old people. First of all, in his entire speech, there was a lot of lies. I know monks try to use words like, oh, it's not foreseeable, it can be done, it's not feasible. Feasible, in simple English, feasible means it can't happen. So that means if something can happen and it can happen, you lie. Let's get to part of the things that he lied about. I'm saying, and in as much as I don't support the CDC, I'm saying it was a lie to put the responsibility on CDC so they can go through the rigmarole. Like the same way we saw in the Ellen government, one group will say, Ellen gave, Ellen left, in a 10-hour note, 500,000. The other group say, the person left, now 500,000 they left. They left 250,000, for example. So this is the same scenario we're in, but here's the difference in the scenario. The difference in the scenario is the Joseph Bwaka-led government is laying the precursor now. They're laying the land down now for them to start bringing in line because they don't take responsibility. I'm saying to you, that whole 40,000 that the CDC said they left,
40
Unity Party, 40 million, and Unity Party say, and now 40 million, and at 20, this other million, 20.5 million. I'm saying that not true. I'm saying that not true, and I'm saying by it today. That is not true. That is not true.
So which one is true?
I believe,
Your opinion.
I believe what is true is the 40 million was left there. And it is left on the CDC, and what we're reaching out to CDC people to come and prove to the Liberian people.
As a matter of fact, as we're speaking right now, that's what I'm trying to do right now. I'm trying to reach to Minister Samuel Toy. I'm not trying to reach out to Samuel Toy to come and clarify.
Because there are two things here, Mr. Kenneth. If the government report, you listen to this, here's where the trick is. If the government reports 40 million, listen to this, and you say CBL did not report the same 40 million to reconcile this money or to authenticate or corroborate it. My question is this: who do we bring here? Do we bring the government or do we bring CBL? That is the place I'm a little confused about. Who do we hold here responsible? The executive say we left 40 million. CBL says we didn't leave 40 million. Who do we hold here? Do we hold both of them or do we hold one party? Another thing that Monk strike here, which I think was very important, is this. First of all, Joseph Boakai told us when he lied about Cummings that he did not know how to operate WhatsApp. Joseph Boakai looked at somebody who ought to go train somebody on technology. Oh, for that, Isa. Talking about they will train 10,000 people. How you train them?
Yeah, in digital skills.
But it doesn't mean that Joseph Boakai himself will train the people's chief.
What you train?
Policy.
Yeah, I mean, when the president say we'll train people, even if he doesn't know anything about technology, when he said we will do this, it doesn't mean that he will do it in person. It means that the government will take the initiative to train people. It doesn't mean that will do it himself.
But the question is where? How? You don't even have stable electricity in the country. How? You remember when Joe we had told us that we were going to bring, I don't know how many teachers or whatever it is. I told you, say these people, they know exactly what they are on. They're taking
how they win, that's a value, those are valid questions. But when you talk about because he doesn't know how to operate or whatever he said he cannot or WhatsApp, that doesn't mean he cannot train people.
Mr. Kane.
But that's why we make it impossible, because the president said doesn't understand the protocol you need to implement technology. That's why we're not happy.
The protocol of implementing technology, that is not just limited to operating WhatsApp, man. There are a lot of people don't even have WhatsApp on their phone.
Oh, I want to know for sure. I'm just saying that in terms of priority, when it comes to technology, I will not happen.
That is my point. It can be a priority. That is my point.
Okay. Okay. Now I'm getting your point. So it means that because, but also you have to also know that government is not Joseph Boakai.
Maybe
technology is not. Let me tell you something. Maybe technology may not be Joseph Boakai's priority. Maybe Joseph Boakai may be old. He's now turned with current reality. We have to understand government is not Joseph Boakai. Joseph Boakai has some other advisors. May have some advisors. May have people that will tell him, say, in order for us to create a job, in order for to empower our country, is to create youth empowerment by making sure you invest in technology training. And I mean, people can tell you to do those things. It doesn't mean that when Joseph Boakai, maybe Joseph Boakai is not interested, but if the people, advisors tell him that, okay, you know what, if you do X, Y, and Z, that will improve the life of the people. Even if Joseph Boakai personally don't believe in those things, and if those things are workable and they see like a foreseeable result, definitely they will. He can go ahead and do that.
Let me make a point.
Our problem should be, for me personally, our problem should be, okay, you're saying you're going to do S, Y, and Z, granted. When are you going to do it and how? The when and how, I got a problem with that. But somebody making those projections, say these are the things that we are going to be doing. Ask them when you're going to do it, and how you're going to do it. And then one question Regina Moon asked, okay, what will be the essence of those training those people? Where are they going to work? Are you going to create an environment, a working environment? Are you going to bring in a lot of private sector's job? Or the government going to create job outside of government, wherein those people that are going to be trained, going to be working? Those to be the question, those to be challenges of the government. But I will not personally, trash the things he say he would do, without giving the benefit of the doubt. I will tell you when you're going to do it and how you're going to do it.
I agree with you that you cannot personally trash it. I
Yeah,
will personally not only trash it, I will put it in front of a plastic bag, tie it, and throw it away. You
I
know why?
understand.
You know why we do that?
No.
President John, we are doing the campaign. He told us it was not about education, it was not about book. Indirectly, that's what he said. He didn't care about education, about book. When he became president, he said he went bring instructors. Does that make any sense to you? I told him from day one when President John we had made a proclamation that he will not bring no people from Nigeria to train because that was not his interest, that was not his priority. The man tell you say educational issue. Joseph Boaga lie in court that he doesn't know how to operate WhatsApp, but he can text on WhatsApp to ask for money. He can operate WhatsApp to beg for money or other things. Can you tell me that you will prioritize technology? You as well say that and believe that fully. I ain't even thinking about the how, the why, the when. I'm not interested in that from the beginning. That bogus conversation. So I throw it to the window. Another thing that I wanted to bring to mind is this, and I think it's important. And I think the speech today kind of cover it up, but we need to bring it to light. Monk, I'm very confused. Cyrus, I'm confused. And the Liberian people, I'm confused, perplexed, and very worried about something that that was reported on Front Page Africa. Joseph Boakai, according to the reporting, there's pressure on him. When you read the papers, you will see that there are a couple of senators, their faces are on there, whether that's James Barney, whether that's Dillon, whether that's Youngly, who is the pro tem now, and all of that. They are selected as people who are supposed to do the vetting for people who Boakai will hire. We are in some mess. We're in some big trouble because they are the same senators that are supposed to confirm the people who are supposed to vet. You see what I told you from the one that Yombly and the other people need to move from behind the rescue team and be independent. You can be the one vetting and also be the one that will make sure that these people meet the right requirements to give them the job. You can't do that. They're supposed to be independent. That's my first time hearing this kind of nonsense. That's my first time seeing this, and it is troubling. It is problematic. It is problematic. This is not the right step to. This is not the right thing to do for our country. It's not. The last part I wanted to bring out is also I knew that Joseph Boakai confirmed what Yeke said. What Yeke said that when Prince Johnson take the phone and call him, he can be happy. Tell you see new woman. I knew it today. Joseph Boakai, anything mentioned about what economic go in that speech today? No, it can't be mentioned there because they gave him. I told you yesterday that the message that was sent to them yesterday was coded. Prince Johnson was sending a direct message yesterday. That particular conversation yesterday, Prince Johnson had on the pulpit was not coincidental. It was planned, and Joseph Boakai received the message, and he put his life together and behaved himself. That's why you see he mentioned nothing about it. Those are the 2 points that I wanted to make sure I infuse today. I'm very concerned about those 2 things, and this is where we are with this Lala government. The leader of the
Okay.
government.
So I hope you will stay here for to have a brief conversation on that. And before I say something, let's give Saros a chance to say something on everything going on, including the speech today. But I had 2 opposite opinion of what Steve just said. And but let's go to Saros first, and then I will come in and make my argument with
Yes,
Steve.
yes. So let me say good evening to you and Steve and Monk, namesake, and to all the Liberian people and our, many viewers to the SKTV family. It's good to be back again on SKTV, and I just want to like that was my point regarding this whole World Economic Crime Code. For some reason, I didn't get to listen to the president making point on that because that has to do with justice. We all know that in order to, strengthen a nation, in order to strengthen a nation, we have to bring perpetrator to their knees, and people have to account for their actions. We've long cried for this war economic ground, and it has been on one of the matters that brought the Unity Party to power. So for me, I have serious issue with that. For some reason, I don't know why the president did not make mention of that in his first annual message to the nation, and as to how he would tackle that. I didn't get to listen to that. And one of our major challenge is electricity. If for some reason the president, I have the speech, I haven't take time to, read and dissect the speech to give a critical analysis on it. But from just piece of what I listened to, I think electricity should be one of a paramount concern as well, because we all know electricity is security all by itself and it's part of infrastructure development. So the president did not go in depth when it comes to electricity today. So yeah, but as the conversation go on, I will still make, I'll make a in-depth contribution to the disco, but I'm still following. And I just want to read through the speech and take key points out.
All right, thank you so much, Saros. So Steve, I don't know whether you stay there and listening, but I first I want to talk about the area of the committee, the vetting committee, supposedly vetting committee, wherein there are some lawmakers, including Senator Darius Dillon and Senator Nyomli Kanga Lawrence. The last time when Steve talked about Nyomli's connection with Joseph Nyimabuakai, especially moving from one place to another, he flagged that as a problem, as an issue. We argue, personally, I say that it is not a bad thing for officials of government, regardless of branches of the government, to hang around and merrymake, especially in the case of people that were part of the rescue team. I said they are stay having fun, they are still celebrating their rescue winning. Steve, remember that, right? Okay. So I said we will start to question them if getting together compromises or impede or usurp the function of any of the branches. For example, Nyomli being on the committee to vet or Dillon or any member of the legislature, especially of the Senate,
Yeah.
it is completely wrong. It doesn't make sense. And it also speaks to the fact that they are behaving as if they don't understand the Constitution or they don't understand their respective responsibility and duty. So, like I said the last time, coming together, being friendly, going to mosque, going to church, going to club, wherever they want to go together, we don't care. But if you do something that will compromise your constitutional responsibility, that will somehow usurp your function for your respective position, then we will speak out. And I believe this point, it's time to talk about it now. You can dance, you can party, but you can't do these kinds of things. And the reason is simple. The function of the Senate, they are the one that is responsible. They are responsible to go and look at presidential appointees, look at their record, approve or deny them the job. But if you're going to be working with the executive to do vetting, it means that you are even doing your job before it came to you. That's not how it works. You allow the executive to do their job. Joseph Boakai can appoint any amount of people he wants to appoint, but not for you to be part of the vetting team. No, the campaign is over. You can work with Joseph Boakai during the campaign time to do whatever you want to do, whoever you want to bring on the team for the campaign team. When it comes to functioning of the government, it is the prerogative of Joseph Boakai to go and look for qualified people, competent people to bring them on board. Now, it is the responsibility of the Senate investigate, give them hard questions, check their record, see whether they are qualified. If the government of Liberia, through the executive, the Senate, agree that this person is qualified to do the job, that's when the person can be qualified. But the president can appoint, you have to consent, you have to agree that this person is actually qualified to do the job. But how will you be part of the executive at the same time part of the Senate? Then you must resign one position. That goes to Senator Dillon too. Who all the senators that are there? I saw Senator James Bardeen, what is his name? James what? What the guy's last name?
James Barney.
James Barney, Senator Dillon, Senator Yomli Kanga Lawrence. I don't think, maybe they didn't pay attention to this, but let it go and revisit their constitutional responsibility. They're not supposed to be working in the executive and being on the team to vet possible employee of Joseph Boakai government. That's not their job. Their job is to, they are the interviewer. Joe Boakai go and do the searching, and do whatever you want to do, find the qualified people. They will come and interview the people, whether or not they are qualified for the job. That's their job. How will you be the interviewer at the same time, the one on the street looking for the employee? I think that this is somehow, not understanding their function or overlapping their function. If they do understand exactly what they are doing, that means they are overlapping their function. I think that is wrong. That we just want to, say that. So that means when we said friendship is okay, well, once your action compromises your position as a government official, especially an elected position, then that will go against the ways of the Liberian people, and then we will speak to that. So with regards to this saying, what was the second thing you talk about?
The word economic crime code was not mentioned.
Economic crime code.
Because Prince Johnson sent a code message to Joseph Boakai.
Yeah, so I agree with your statement in part. In part, the part I agree with, it is clear that Joseph Boakai is afraid of Prince Johnson. It is clear that Joseph Boakai don't want to get on the lane of Prince Johnson. However, though, it is sad that the State of Nation address coincided, or it just happened, or things are happening simultaneously, wherein Prince Johnson did this yesterday, and now, the State of Nation address is today. But if you minus the Prince Johnson factor from the whole situation, today was not about what Joseph Boakai intends to do altogether. It was not about his agenda. It was not about his plans of action. Today was about the state of the nation. Where are we? To explain to the people the structure of our country, financially, economically. You can choose to add something there, but the purpose today was to tell the people, where are we as a country? In the process, we can choose to say, here is where are we, but I can take it to this level. Here is where we are. I can change it to this level. Here, I made this thing destroy, but this is what I can do to fix it. But the man already told you in a speech last week that he will conduct an audit, that there will be one economic crown code. If we don't want him to be redundant, if we don't maybe we don't want to hear somehow, Prince Johnson and Joseph Baga going tit for tat, which I think is not necessary. What I'm looking for is to see whether Joseph Baga is going to live up to what he said during his inaugural speech. The fact he already said it, he doesn't have to say it today. It's already on record. It's in the speech. Joseph Baga saying anything today that would look like Joseph Baga is going tit for tat. Somebody say a UPPR person. I'm not UPPR person. I'm just trying to. I'm trying to play.
Marcel, I got something to say on that.
Okay, so I think Joseph Baga decided not to talk about this. I think it was done purposely not to talk about it, which I believe is not a bad thing, because he did not talk about it at all from the acceptance speech. Then I'll have problem with it. But the man, when doing his inauguration, is dead. He's talk about it. So why do you want to talk about it now? Because he forced to talk about it now because you want him to go tit for tat with Prince Johnson? No. I'm personally waiting for Joseph Baga whether or not he will implement everything he said during his inaugural speech, and will hold you responsible. But not mentioning it today, it's not a big deal to me.
So let's hear from Mark now. I will come in while I leave. Mark, I know you want to say something.
For me, I'm not buying that idea, because here's the thing. When you just take office and you talk about State of the Union, the State of the Union, usually when you come into office, you're not going to be in depth when it comes to the State of the Union, because you're just taking office. Joseph Baga cannot completely gauge the State of the Union. When it comes to things that he's making promises of, he says some things in his inaugural speech that he reinforced in this State of the Union. And the war crimes could be one of the major issues he have highlighted. Okay, let's take, for example, a cashless society. He talked about roads and the budget and healthcare. Are those stuff you want to say that he talked about them during the State of the Union as well? He make emphasis on some of those things. So something that is as important as the war is an economic crime. Maybe he should have just reinforced that as well to give people something for assurance that this old man is serious about this. But you're talking about things like a cashless society. You're talking about deliverables on healthcare. Okay, yeah, it makes sense. But my brother, the war and economic crime is a very serious issue. I think it ranks to the top of all your priorities. You talk about arrest, your whole plan, your agenda for this administration. You cannot leave out the war and economic crime. I thought it was a blunder on his part.
So, Mr. Kane, let me agree with Sarah.
Let me just say something quick. Yes, Mr. Kane, let me also respectfully disagree with you and agree with Monk and Steve. The thing is, no, Mr. Kane,
I think that's fine. You say disagree. I think that's fine. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is serious. The thing is, in a part of the president's speech, he said that there will be a reform that is restituting Liberian people money. How do you restitute? How do you bring a reform when you cannot make people account? Because those things that were stolen by Liberians who were given the mantle of authority to lead, they deprived Liberians of their, birthright, those things that they should benefit from, and they work with impunity. And in order to make reform, a total reform, people have to account. So if there is no accountability, then where are we with reform? So I completely disagree. I think the old man's speech, or the president, should continue to reiterate to the Liberian people regarding this war economic crime code, because it's very, very paramount. It's very paramount, Mr. Kane. We can't have the same very people who continue to cause the Liberian people pain and sorrow, continue to, parade the streets of Liberia with impunity, and you think that it's not necessary in today's student that we can. Yes.
So
Go
my
ahead.
question to you, my question to all three of you.
No, I want to disagree with you first when you bring your question.
Yeah, let me ask the question and then you can disagree with me answering the question. That's fine. So I know now you're not alone. A lot of people saying that I'm changing my tone. Maybe I'll join UP. I'm not joining any team. I've just been honest and speaking based on my understanding of politics and how it works. So here's the thing. My question to you now, all of you. Similar thing was mentioned by Joseph Boakai when he came to Washington, D.C., when he was interviewed. You talk about the audit, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Now, today he talks about audit. If you look at Liberian people, what they want right now, majority of Liberian people, they want to see an audit. They want to see an audit. They want to see whether or not Samuel Tuwe was called corrupt. Samuel Tuwe was called criminal. John Weah was called corrupt criminal. Makio. And Joseph Boakai did not only emphasize on audit, but he made it clear today that it's not going to be only one branch of the government that's going to be audited. They're going to go across all three branches of government. That was the news. That was the news. And that I was happy to hear that, because you know what? We're going to hold Joseph Boakai accountable if he failed to follow through. So my question to all of you, simply because this war and economic crime code was not mentioned today, does that eradicate the fact that the man mentioned he made a promise to the Liberian people during his inaugural speech? So it means that because he didn't mention it today, now he's not going to implement it, or it's no longer top of his agenda, or it's just going to be a lip service from the inauguration, and from now on, it's over with? Is that what you're saying? Simply because we're not mentioned today, that means there will be no war and economic crimes code?
So, Mr. Kane, I will answer your question, but let me go back first to disagree with you. You know, what happened yesterday at Prince Johnson's church? In fact, Prince Johnson was even coming to introduce another pastor or bishop that should have preached. He used the time to make that point. It was not coincidental. It was not by mistake. It was deliberately done because Prince Johnson is aware that Joseph Boakai should have been given the State of the Nation address today. In fact, we are doing investigation as to find out if that portion was omitted because of what happened yesterday from Prince Johnson. I will say this to you, Mr. Kane. Let's put all jokes aside. You can have a president that is a puppet to another man. You can do that.
Yeah, but Steve, that's no surprise, Steve.
But
Prince Johnson controls. Prince Johnson will control. Prince Johnson is an integral part of this government, and Prince Johnson is a decision maker in this government. There's no surprises about that. So it's like talking about that is like beating on a dead horse.
So as part of it, like I said, it's not coincidental. The same way how on the same platform, you guys are saying there's nothing wrong with Yombly gallivanting and bouncing around with Joseph Human Boakai like she is not in another branch of government. This whole look, let me tell you something. Yombly is a leader in the country and from another branch of government. According to our constitution, these are separate branches of government that have different functions and responsibilities. When you are invited to an official function,
it was not an official function, Steve.
But
that was the argument we made that day. We told you if this was an official function of the government and Yombly is going there representing the executive, then that's a problem. Anything that will interfere or compromises their respective function, then we have a problem with that. But ordinary things, and they are not, Joseph Boakai was not even in power yet. Let me tell you something, Steve. People being in different branches of government does not mean they can't be friends, does not mean they can go to places, does not mean they can gather together and have fun. No.
Let me make the point I wanted to make, Mr. Kenneth. I agree
Okay.
with what you're saying. I said if there was an official function where the Senate was involved, where the Senate was invited, she could have gone to represent the Senate. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm saying her proximity, bouncing around with Joseph Boakai, needs to stop if she wants to be taken seriously. The audacity for Joseph Boakai to even recommend her to be part of this particular nonsense thing that they call vetting committee or whatever it is due to the proximity. And sometimes you need to draw lines when you are certain state in authority. You need to draw lines. Mr. Karen, even you who here, me and you talk, but there are certain lines and there are certain things that we don't talk about and we don't do. You don't allow me to do certain things. This is what leadership is about. You got to know when to draw the line. Optically, it is wrong to see somebody passing behind Joseph Boakai. Says she's not going to beg girl for Joseph Boakai. She don't be taking. Look, let me tell you something. She won't be taken seriously. You know when we say some of these things here, people can get very well. She won't be taken seriously. She need to act serious. Look. You know what it means to be Senate pro tem? Do you really know what it means? You're who they check and balance people. You're the BB people there. And then you passing around with Joseph Boakai, then pass you pass you, they pass you, you pass you, you pass you. You know your function. That's what make it. They got a brave man to even put her on that kind of childish list. Because if you are drawing the line from day one, you will not even think about it. But they're comfortable. Because you see, when you don't draw the line, people get comfortable and they think they
they'll be always comfortable. They will be comfortable still because they're on the same team. Let me tell you something. I'm not trying to defend normally here. I'm telling you, all of these things are expected. But any of it that will go against ethical approach, and then one of them that will go against constitutional responsibility, we have to speak on that, like what they did right now. By putting Yombly and all those senators then on a vetting team by Joseph Boakai, that is wrong. Constitutionally, it is wrong ethically, and it doesn't make sense. How can you be the interviewer at the same time being the recruiter on the street?
Mr. Kenneth, you are worrying about and they can't do this because now when they do the full speech. I'm telling you the genesis of what made Joseph Boakai got to you put in there because they're comfortable.
But then you have to understand how Yombly. Okay, now you're concerned about Yombly and Yombly position. How did Yombly become the person she is today? It's because of the same thing. That's how she get there. Because she's in bed with the people. Because you're acting like Yombly is some kind of new person now. Yombly is some kind of different person, ethical person who's going to really do things to hold Gojo Boakai government accountable. That's the point I'm trying to make to you. Yombly got what she got simply because they've been in bed before. They are in bed from the start to the end. The only way Yombly will show muscle, the only way Yombly will show difference, the only way Yombly will show some ethics or any ethical value, it will be when Yombly is ready to declare her intention to run for president. That will be around maybe the middle of Joseph Boakai government, or maybe towards the ending of Joseph Boakai government. That way you will show the difference between them. But right now, as I speak to you, the people believe the rescue group, the rescue team, they are together. They don't care, they care less about their respective functions as prescribed by the Constitution. So right now, all they worry about is they are in the rescue team, they're doing things together. So we now, the citizens of Liberia, any part of their merrymaking, compromises, or somehow undermine the function of either or, then we can speak to that. That's what we're doing right now. But to expect them to be separated from each other, then you are wasting your time. They're going to do even the worst because they are comfortable. Because
I'm a little bit confused on what you guys
how did Yombly become the president potent? It was by compromise. It was not by any other reality. It was because the fact that Yombly is with them, everything was compromised, having gentleman agreement, and to make cause that person. Do you think she's going to show divorce from the people right away just like that? Even they're the one that put her there? How did Nyambli became rescue mother? She was told, because we did not make you vice presidential candidate, we will make you President Putin. So you expect Nyambli to go away from Joseph Boakai? No, you are making minister. You're going to waste your time on that. They will always be together. They will always do things. So every time they make mistakes in the process wherein they compromise the constitution, we have to erect that checkpoint. Say, hey, we don't care what you do. You can do your merrymaking. You can go to club. You can go to mosque. You can go to church. Anywhere you want to go, but you should not be violating the constitution. And that's exactly what they did now. By Joseph Boakai going to appoint those people who are supposed to be his supervisor to go and work for him, to go look for people to come work in his government. And they're the same people that are going to be there to go and interview those people and consent their appointment. If that happened, it means that they themselves are compromised. You will now go and go look for Saros, go vet Saros and say, yeah, Saros is good for the job. And then you see that kind of in public to kind of vet, to kind of interview Saros, to agree whether or not Saros is qualified. So that is compromising their position as senators. I have a problem with that. We all should have a problem with that. But if you expect them to say they're normally going to behave like some kind of different person or responsible senator who will now want to interfere with the executive, or if you think that Joseph, I'm not going to do the same thing. But now I'm not going to take over now. Let's wait and see now if I'm not going to now as senator, whether he's going to be taking Joseph Boakai now again to investors, to federal government officials, to IMF officials, World Bank, and this and that. If I'm not going to touch that at this point, after Joseph Boakai now being sworn in as president, then I'm not going to be overlapping his function. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Before I leave, let me say this. And I want to say this in all sincerity, whether it's to Yomri, the Delon, or whatever it is. I got some growing up to do. You're really good. And if Yomri thinks she will be president by being in bed with Joseph Boakai and compromising herself and thwarting the future for some other young women, because you know the stigma that will be passing around now. That don't mean any politics not serious. You want to get in a position and not effective. Nobody needs to show the difference. She knows better. This is somebody I've seen her act with. This is somebody that I know. She knows better. She needs to do what's right. She got what she wanted. She must show the difference. This is not a joking matter. You know, there are some things I will not say right now. Because if Yomli thinks she is immune, if Yomli thinks she can be essential, let her fool around. If she thinks she can be held accountable, let her fool around. Remember when we predicted to Yomli that she was going to be kicked out of the Unity Party and they passed around. I used to see
Liberty Party.
The Liberty Party. I used to see some of her friends, some people then bouncing. Let me get Yomli the news today. Unity Party boys, they disgrace you. You better slow down. You better relax yourself. You better take the hard thing right now and stay with the Liberian people. Unity Party boys, they will dishonor you. When y'all keep this video, when you move on there next time, I will leave it there. They'll continue to be dancing. When Joseph Boakai go jog, go jog with him. When Joseph Boakai lay down, go sit outside him and make sure he sleep. Yeah, continue. You don't send a protest again. You know you just don't bring you anybody. Continue. Oh yeah, watching you too. Anyway, the kind of I got it wrong, but Prince Johnson sent his shout out to Joseph Boakai. Joseph Boakai received a shout out.
Yep.
So
and that will continue to happen, Steve.
That is just what it is.
But the only thing I can tell you, I believe that this was a coincidence. You say it's not coincidental. I think
it was
not coincidental because it already happened to be, it happened behind each other. But I don't think Prince Johnson will stop controlling what Joseph Boakai. And Joe Biden will always bow down to Prince Johnson. And just because it happened during the same time, of the, State of the Nation address, it will happen tomorrow again. It will happen again and again and again. Prince Johnson will always do what he wants to do, and Joseph Baka will bow down to it.
Okay.
For me, I got an issue, and Steve raised a very good point concerning the whole marriage between the senators and the president-elect. It's one thing when you are in the campaign, and there's another thing when you guys are inaugurated in the office and seated in the office to be paddling around. And the article that Steve is talking about, where they are trying to deny. You see, we in a big problem in Liberia. We are in a big problem, and I keep telling folks all the time. It seems like XKTV is the one setting the agenda for everybody. When you look at Joseph Boaga activities, when you look at the transitional team activity, you look at Prince Johnson responses, whether it's in his church or just on radio, it all seems like every time we come up with an idea on SKTV, within 24 hours, something happened between those competing parties. That's what we see happening. When Steve talked about the idea about setting up a vetting committee that will be independent, we see exactly what's happening. And yeah, it's why the Front Page Africa saying that Joseph Boaga got fed up with people running to his house for government job. So technically, he punked the whole idea of nominating people to the senators, and they are 8 on that team, which is very scary. The only person that is now a lawmaker is the Unity Party chairman, Luther Tappert, but the rest of them are all senators, including Jeremiah Kuhn. He's the president now of the Senate. So we all understand the function of the government, how the government operate. The role of the Senate is either to ratify treaties, to make nomination, to follow up on motion, amendment, and resolution. Okay, Front Page Africa is reporting now that the whole vetting committee, they're not only vetting, now they are the one making recommendations to the president-elect. And they give instances. One typical example, Alex Tyler, his brother now that was deputy at the transport ministry is the minister now for transport. How you think that happened? It got to be with the input of Alex Tyler. Second of all, they are saying that this lady, the cousin Jaso Jala Sogbe, who is the minister of education, she's a relative to Delon. Right? And initially, the name that was on our list was some genital massacre that Joseph Boaga was eyeing for the Ministry of Justice.
It was not even eyeing. Actually, he appointed the person.
He appointed him. Only for us to know that this guy can Copper Crack. And who is Copper Crack? He got linked to the MDR by the Prince Johnson Jeremiah factor.
Not linked. He's the chairman of NDR.
He's the chairman. So technically, these senators are the one making the appointment, because what do you expect? And who gave me the analogy? We're talking about it yesterday was Chairman Yato. Chairman Yato said, sorry, it's almost like a policeman who gave you ticket in the traffic going to court to prosecute you as the judge. The people who are who's supposed to be the one vetting, are the same one making recommendation. And here is a man who's talking about transparency. Look, I don't know. The whole idea that Joseph Boaga is the most experienced elect is just falling apart every single day, because these lawmakers now, they are not on the campaign trainer, they are being seated. So the people who's supposed to be who's supposed to be questioning and holding the president or nominees to account, are the one making recommendations for the same people taking power in the executive branch. How can that be? How?
Yeah.
Look,
it is unfortunate.
It's a lost cause, man.
It is unfortunate. Yes, sir. Yeah, I want to go to Sarah. Go ahead after Steve. Go to Sarah.
Remember on the same show, we said if Dylan is not careful, he will be sanctioned. Remember on the same show? Abbott Chair never thought he was going to be sanctioned. Let Dylan, let Youngly, and whoever else want to fool around, let them fool around. At least we will be on record that we gave them the message.
We have some issue with Steve there. Yeah, Steve, we didn't hear the end of your thought. Whatever you were saying, we didn't hear everything.
Yeah. So you were saying, you said,
he's
sending a message.
If they're not careful, they could be sanctioned.
They'll be sanctioned, so they should keep fooling around. That was what he said.
Okay. So Cyrus, I'm going to go to you. Let me just clarify something to our viewers here. The discussion we are having right now, we all not being on the same page, doesn't mean that we are stopping people from saying what they want to say. somebody saying, oh, because I made a point, the point, oh, but that doesn't mean we can't talk about it. No, I'm not saying that. You can talk about anything you want to talk about. You can believe whatever you want to believe. Our job, my job, is to provide a contrast for people to understand how government functions, for people to understand that the people that we are talking about here, they all have different responsibility. Also, for people to understand that people that we are talking about here, they are not a bunch of angels that came from the sky. They are the same people that have been working together. Some of them still think that they are still campaigning. Some of them still think that the whole idea of rescue mission is a lifetime mission. So they can forget that they are working in separate entity or separate institution of the government. Some of the things that they are stay on the campaign trail. So for you to expect them to behave like different people from different backgrounds that will uphold certain ethical value with regard to their functions, then you are wasting your time. They're not going to do that. All we get to do, some of us, when they do anything that will go outside of the Constitution, they will do anything that will do wrong, will impact or that will have negative effect on all of us as a country. We can talk about that. We can push it. But to say people that they're going to be merrymaking, they're going to go to things together, do things together, that won't forget it. They will always do it. You're going to waste our time on it. You can waste your time on it. But I can tell you, don't expect Young Blue, DeLong, all the other people, James Barney, all the other people that are, I think they still are part of the rescue team. Do not expect them to do anything based on ethics at this point. They will do everything to embrace Joseph Boakai and Joseph Boakai's idea. Anything Joseph Boakai wants, that's what he gets.
So technically, what we are saying now,
so any of it that will go against the ethics, we can go about that. But anything that is not in contradiction with the Constitution, which I think we should let that be, because we'll see more and more of that.
But what you are saying, then technically we just sit by and just allow the gross abuse of the Constitution, because there's a gross abuse of the Constitution.
But no, listen, Saros. I told you, I have problem with what Steve said in the past, but today we are all saying the appointment of those people on the vetting team is wrong. It's unconstitutional. We are saying that. We all agree with that. But number one, Steve is saying was simply because the other people are in the executive, the other people are in the legislature, they should not be friends, they should not go to places together. Because by people saying it together, the optics is not good.
No, that one they're free to do that. I don't have
that's my argument.
Okay.
Anything is outside of the government function, I don't have a problem with it. The law is not an official government function. Any kind of thing they want to do, I mean, that's their business.
And second, yes, man, take on the whole thing about Joseph Boakai pointing his responsibility to senators that will not only be vetting, but also be making recommendations. Okay, so if you are going to make the case about fighting corruption and bringing war crimes and all this stuff, if Joseph Boakai doesn't have the spine to even appoint people that he believes will make his government successful, and he dedicated his tax to lawmakers that should even be vetting his nominee in the Senate, then how can Joseph Boakai be able to implement policy on a day-to-day basis? Because he's supposed to be the most experienced. And he literally showing that he doesn't even have the spine to appoint the people that he should be appointing on his own team. Because now, technically now, the 8 members that we need, they are the hiring agency now. Because Boakai is saying that too many people are competing. The ICO and the MDR are saying that they are not fully represented. We're seeing people making influence on the nomination process to get a job. So if Joseph Baga is going to make all the promises, being the most experienced guy who understands all Liberia problem, if he cannot even bring people that he believes to be on his own team, then the people who are expecting for Joseph Baga to perform some miracle, I don't know how that's going to work. It just will not work because he's not even bringing people that he believes in at this stage. That the Prince Johnson, the DeLong, the Alex Tyler are the one running the show and coming with their own version of a list. Look, our people the screw, man, big time.
And Alex Tyler says would be on a
vetting committee and talk about transparency. How can you? And that's why I like about the front page Africa headline story that this particular corporate have a dossier of criminal activity that he was fled. The only reason that he never restituted stolen fund for the fact that because he got personal relationship with Kopo on the Supreme Court. That was
okay. Now we even have we have some information about the same guy. On the same issue, we were told just today, this morning, how he was involved with a lot of corruption in the past. But I'm told that this guy is a master controller of the justice system. That this guy has about 7 complaints from at different courts and also the Supreme Court, but nothing happened.
Yep.
And the reason why nothing happened, he controls a lot behind the scene. The guy is a lawyer, but he's not just a lawyer, but the guy is very, very deep when it comes to the function of our judicial system in Liberia. Pretty much everybody, he has something going on with everybody. So they depend on him for a lot of things. So he's the point man for Prince Johnson. And he was the reason why George Weah refused to sign the document that's supposed to bring the World Economic Court. So that means this guy appointment was very strategic by Prince Johnson, knowing, okay, if this man can work and prevented everything in the past, what if you're making the boss? I mean, he will step on everything. Copper Crowd. And like you said, Monk, SKTV bringing Copper Crowd out, Jose out, and talking about his past. Put Copper Crowd on the spotlight, and a lot of information coming out now about him. But at the end of the day, Joseph Nima Boakai government is and will be controlled by Prince Johnson from the start to the end. And that's why Prince Johnson is fighting back. Prince Johnson is sending a message to this guy to tell you, if you try it, I will fight you. And Joseph Boakai has no spine. And Joseph Boakai has nobody there who can stand Prince Johnson. I can tell you that. Also, Joseph Boakai government did not come to power out of the blue moon. People knew that Prince Johnson would be a factor in Joseph Boakai government. People knew that Prince Johnson will be controlling Joseph Boakai government. People knew that Prince Johnson will be a pain in the back of Joseph Boakai government. And they said, we agree. They said, I can dance with the devil and get to power. So some people may think what I'm saying here, maybe I'm supporting Joseph Nima Boakai. No, no, no. I'm not supporting any government, by the way. We only here for the Liberian people. But what I know, what I do know, Joseph Nima Boakai government will break their own nail, like we always say in Liberia. That's why I'm not rushing on anything. Because if Joseph Boakai come and say, hey, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, my question will be, how are you going to do it and when you're going to do it? If you fail to do it, then we'll go after them. But we are not here to say, you know what, everything about Joseph Boakai is bad. Anything they do, we just criticize it. No, that's not how SKTV, that's what we do. That's not what we do here. We can have individual opinion on issues, but holistically, we follow that policy. We're not going to side with you. We're not going to support you. We'll support the good thing. If you do it, we'll talk about it. If you do bad thing, we'll talk about it. But we're not going to prejudge you. We're not going to have, that pre-mindset that everything about Boakai is bad and we should criticize everything about them. If that's the mindset you have, we are sorry. That's not what we do here on SKTV. We're not going to let Joseph Boakai off the hook if he makes mistakes. Things that people can see as mistakes, if they're not mistakes, we can talk about that. Some people may see it as mistakes, some people will see it as not mistake, some people will see it as a problem, and some people will see it as not problem. But we will give our own opinion to that. But whatever that is apparent, that we all know that this is wrong, these are wrong things, we'll definitely talk about that and we'll tell them why it's wrong and what they need to do to right the wrongs. So, Cyrus, you said you wanted to come on, coming to say something. We're not going to be here for a long time again. We started a little late today. Maybe you guys will go and conclude, and then we can cut it there.
Yes, yes. So, Mr. Kane, regarding this whole Senate, we agree that Yombly, who is the Senate pro tem from Grand Baza Senator, has been in bed with Boakai. But we should also establish the fact that she's now a Senate pro tem and she has a shared responsibility as a legislator or a lawmaker. And part of her responsibility is oversight. Part of her responsibility is lawmaking. So as a lawmaker, or part of her shared responsibility of oversight, I don't see it any necessary that she should be in bed with the executive. And we said this thing to the Liberian people long ago, and they told us that they care not. Our people are very good at repeating mistakes. When we retrospect to going back to the days of Taylor, they used the slogan that if you kill our mother, you kill our father, we vote for you, kill our mom, you kill our father, we vote for you. Then we come down to the former president of the Republic of Liberia, George Weah. You know book, you don't know book, I will vote for you. Now, 2023, they told us whether Boakai is in the casket, the president now, or he's not there, and they said they will still vote for him. Even if his picture is on the casket, a casket or a coffin, they are going to vote for him. So, we're saying these things. It's not something that, okay, because we say Yomli is doing it, so we should leave it that she should do it. No, she has a shared responsibility. But I'm sorry for Liberian, I'm sorry for the youth, the young people who do not know their purpose, who do not know their value, that they continue to pray, sing, and worship the people who wasted their lives and wasted their time and energy behind the kind of evil people, to vote them and continue to defend them. I'm just sorry for our country because I don't see this country going anywhere anytime soon. Why would a president who came on the matter of rescue now start giving his responsibility out to another. In fact, Mr. Kana, it's a gross disrespect to the Constitution, because where is the balance of power? We talk about balance of power between the three branches of government, and that's why the branches of government have been established for. If they will continue to, if they continue to be in there with the executive, then we are, and we should not see it as nothing wrong with it. Or because they've been doing it continuously, so we should allow them to do it. No, call them out. But I'm sorry for Liberia. I'm sorry for the young people.
Let me ask you. Did anybody on this platform say nothing wrong with the appointment of those people as on the vetting team of Joseph Boakai government? Did anybody on this platform say that there's nothing wrong with it? Can you hear me? All right. We're having issue there with Sarah's internet. Nobody on this platform said that nothing wrong with it. We all say it's wrong. We say it was unconstitutional. It was unethical. That it means that the people who even accepted to be on there, they may not even know their own function. That's what we said. The only area where we had differences was the idea why he didn't bring up the War on Economic Crimes Code today. And why some people may think that it was wrong, I think I don't know if you will take calls now. Hello?
Hello?
Yes.
SKTV Live?
Yeah, this is SKTV.
Yeah. This is SKTV Live on your phone.
Yeah, go ahead.
From Fargo, North Dakota.
Go ahead.
We're on your platform. Prince Johnson, this case then we take responsibility. We know we're in the United States. So from that bill, that tango in the court in American embassy, that indicated this country into our private, there will be a serious war crimes investigation in Liberia. I'm not saying the entire U.S. government entire, but I'm talking about entity of the U.S. government. I want to take responsibility. The CIA, usually they do these things. We watch American movies. Those criminals, they get their convictions. So I've been in a condition to get Prince Johnson that if we can find how and be senator again and make somebody to be a bad president and have control over the government, they want to be thwarted. Seriously.
So are you saying that United States government will be in? You can work with Prince Johnson on a deal?
United States may not be the CIA.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So what? So you think that entity of the United States government can work with? No, man. No. Stop saying those kind of twisted logic, man. It doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense, my man. Okay. All right. No problem. Thank you. That doesn't make sense. How will you accuse United States government to work with Prince Johnson? People that somebody that they could not even live to see him serving on chairman on Armed Services Committee. I don't know. I don't know what kind of twisted logic is that. Hey, Sharif, how you doing? Okay, we lost Sharif. Honestly, I don't know how long you guys want to stay here because I want to go watch the game. We started,
I'm upset.
we started late and we're already over our time.
Yeah. We'll do it tomorrow, continue tomorrow.
Yeah, so Sharif, you're the last caller. Go ahead quickly.
That's me, Mr. Sickle?
Yes, sir.
All right. Yes, my name is William Sharif, commonly known as Credible Sharif. Brother Sickle, you see, I don't know, Steve, I don't know why Steve is even hitting a or Monk hitting a on the war and economic crime school. 2005, the Sea Unity Party, Joseph Boaga was part of the government for 12 years. Since 2005, they talked about war and economic crime school. We saw all that thing came up. Everything was fiasco. They did nothing. Prince Johnson was with them. Okay? And now, in Joseph Boaga regime, Joseph Boaga did, say something about it. But we also, and now you're talking about it was coincidental. I don't think that was something coincidental. I feel like, Boaga is jittery. He's kind of scared because it's too soon for Prince Johnson to start, hitting on him. And trust me, most of these guys that fought war, they don't get secret. If you go and sit down with them, like Joseph Boaga say, you would dance with the devil to get what you want. Definitely, when you dance with the devil, too many things can happen. And Joseph Boaga doesn't want those things to start coming out right now. So it was a prelude. It was a message that was well taken in by Joseph Boaga and his entourage. That is why today we saw that speech. The entire war and economic crimes code, section was kind of taken out. And then to the senator's flip book. Let me tell you, if anybody think, and I'm going to talk like my brother Monk on our show, if anybody think my brother will change, that person's sleeping. They better wake up. The same people that are supposed to vet those people, make sure these are the nominees in the executive will come with clean hand and do the proper job for the people. They are the same people that are nominated. I supported Delon. I supported Delon. The records are there. The reason why today I left Delon, I know Delon is not a serious-minded person. All right? Delon will just come on the show and make people muscle and red point and will buy for that. Those people are jokers. Anybody who say you want to make sure transparency and accountability is your goal or whatever it is, you are the one that even nominated before coming to appoint. I mean, appointing before talking about doing anything. Look, nothing will teach in Liberia. Those senators, Alex Starner, can be a person that will. Come on, man. I'm so sick and tired with Liberia, Barasico. We will only try to do our best. Again, we will continue it because we can't give up that way we were born, and we cannot let it go like that. But trust me, nothing will change right now, not in our time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Sarah in Liberia, you want to say something before we leave?
Yeah, so you asked a question about my internet kind of fluctuating. That's regarding your question. That was not what I meant, but I actually mean that we can't still keep tag lip on it, even when the guys are doing the wrong thing. We got to keep speaking out, Mr. Kane. We got to keep educating.
But nobody said people shouldn't speak out. So how can people say? You see the point here? You and some guys, some people on this platform, thinking that when I give opposite opinion, it means that you should not say yours. No, that's not what I meant. I don't stop people from saying whatever they want to say. I don't stop people from speaking their mind on issues. But if I'm looking at it differently from you, I have the right to say that too.
Right.
So nobody should think that because I'm looking at it differently from you and me, they should not say yours. No. I don't have to support your opinion. You don't have to support mine on all issues. I mean, that's the beauty of SKTV. If you agree with me, fine, I'm happy. If you disagree with me, I'm happy. Sometimes too, there will be time me and Mom will disagree on issues. Especially, let me tell you something right now. If you bring about American politics right now, me and Mom will never get along. Because more than Donald Trump, man. And me, I don't see Donald Trump as presidential material. You see? So
Maza Donald Trump, man.
You see? So, and you people, other people agree with you right now. Some of them will slap you for saying that you don't Trump person. so I want to go and put people calling. Come on now. Hello. Yeah, we are leaving now.
Yeah, but I want to say something quick.
Quickly, go ahead.
Senator Dillon has fighting people and young men. You remember they said the Unity Party Alliance. The bringing away of Liberty Party, Youngly and Dillon carried out it. And they were agreement they made that when they re-election, everybody would think they want to take that. So that's why people are appointing the committee list to the president and say, no, this one belongs to us. Unity Party as a party by itself.
I mean, your line is granting. I don't know for some reason. Your line was granting. We're not hearing everything. Now it's good.
The Unity Party Alliance, Jiro and Youngly had a faction of the Liberty Party in there. And people had their own group there. So these people have agreement after the election, everybody will have a piece of the cake. That's why they are giving a list of people who they believe that coming from their own side. So boy, enough for everybody. You know, it's a coalition government. The different parties within that place. If they ask for get people in that government, that will that is not going to work out for people. So that it will be. My concern is the people should be competent to do the job. That's it.
All right, my brother. Thank you.
Yeah.
We appreciate it. So, Sarah,
Yes. So let me just in my thought. Yes. So Mr. Cannon, the thing is, Liberia is doomed because with a man of Prince Johnson, and Prince Johnson is still as co-chair on security and defense at the House of Senate. Now he wants to bring Cooper Craft, a man who is stigmatized from all corners. A man, Mr. Cannon, man, I don't know. But the Liberian people, they requested for this. And I'm sorry for the youth, for especially the young people who are heading to 40. Mr. Cannon, and this is one of my greatest fears. Let me just tell you this today. I'm one of those persons who's actually praying to lead abroad and go advance my life out there and come back. Seriously, because Mr. Cannon, there's absolutely nothing in this country. You see the same people continue to circulate and do the same old thing, and they're being held by the same very Liberian people. I am sorry for my country. I am sorry for the young people, especially the youngest ones who are coming after us. What is the change that this generation will be able to teach the young people that they will emulate and make the change? Because this thing is a generational thing. Today we're seeing it from our older folks. The younger people are looking at us. I mean, like, and they're seeing the same thing and they will gravitate to the same thing. So, but anyway, Liberian people requested for this and they got it. And I will tell you this for free. With a man of Prince Johnson, he will continue to have a stake in Boyka government because the president said he would dance with the devil, and you should expect that nothing good comes from the devil. We all know how the devil comes to steal, kill, and destroy. So obviously, once you're dancing with the devil, everything of the devil, you just have to accept it. So that's just my thought. And let me say thank you to our SKTV family, because Liberian women are the most beautiful women on earth, and Liberian people are the most important people. SKTV will continue to live and will continue to speak truth to power and hold these people accountable. This is the best we can do. We have to do it collectively to make Liberia a better place. Thank you, Mr. Kane.
Thank you, Saros, and thank you, everybody. We appreciate your time, and we will be here tomorrow for more of the thing analysis, especially the Joseph Boakai nation's address. because we did not play the whole thing. Maybe we should continue on playing it while we are out. Those who didn't listen to it, they can listen to it. So if the part if you miss any part of it, you can listen to it. All right.
At the end of December, 2023 stood at $2.21 billion, an increase of 8.67% compared to the end of December 2022 stock of $2.08 billion. This represents a sharp increase of $1.33 billion compared to the end of December 2017 stock of $878.17 million, representing 601.8% rise. Our debt burden has clearly grown astronomically. Suddenly, the rescue mission was necessary for Liberia's transformation. As I am speaking, Liberia is under sanction for lack of payment of dues to the African Union and the African Development Bank. Also, a default in the payment of about $650,000 to the European Investment Bank is preventing the disbursement of $13 million for Sanekwe-Lugato Road. We will reintroduce the fiscal rules and travel ordinance, in addition to our measures to help address waste and abuse and ensure the return of fiscal management. We will ensure that the executive leads by example. Agriculture. Liberia is endowed with abundant natural resources. With over 40% of West Africa's rainforest, our country is home to a diverse array of flora and fauna that should help provide economic and agricultural growth opportunities. Liberia is also a leader in the discussion on climate change mitigation, further emphasizing the importance of international partnership for sustainable agricultural production and development. However, it is important to recognize that our available arable land is underutilized. My government is committed to harnessing the right resources, strengthening collaboration with international partners and local farmers to improve production. Legislative agenda. Our legislative agenda is aimed at working with you in doing the business of the people, for which proposed legislation will be submitted in coming months. We will focus on shaping the outcome for desired by our new development agenda. The following constitute the development agenda. The Presidential Transition Act. The Presidential Transition Act was drafted in 2017 to provide the appropriate and legal framework for seamless transition from one democratically elected president to the other. The draft bill has since been lingering with little or no action to move it to legislation. Given the difficulty in establishing the appropriate framework to guide the recent presidential transition, my government will immediately review the draft bill for submission to the legislature for passage. When passed, the Presidential Transition Act will provide a legal basis for smooth transfer of political power. Bill for the establishment of the Ministry of Local Government. This bill is aimed at advancing modalities to operationalize the Local Government Act passed in 2018 to fast-track the transitioning of the Ministry of Internal Affairs to the new Ministry of Local Government. The Ministry of Local Government will have the authority to drive the government's decentralization program, operationalizing the revenue sharing law. The revenue sharing law needs to be synchronized with existing laws, including the Project Financial Management Act, PFMA, and the current Revenue Code. The revenue sharing law passed in 2022, and these two other instruments were designed for different systems of government. While the new Revenue Sharing Act is designed to facilitate fiscal decentralization in a decentralized system of governance, the other two cater to a centralized system where the sub-national bodies do not have any authority to use a portion of locally generated revenue. This has left county service centers that should be functioning and raising revenue, often stranded to raise operational costs. We will work with the relevant institutions of government to align the new law with existing law, popularize the law, and ensure adherence and enforcement across the country. The passage of the National Tourism Bill. One of the major recommendations that came out of the mandate and functional review of the Ministry of Information, Culture Affairs, and Tourism was the need to divest culture and tourism from the Ministry of Information. The National Tourism Bill has since been sent to the legislature with a first public hearing. Improving tourism is one of the pillars of the arrest agenda. We will work with the legislature on the status of the bill pending necessary action to complete the process. Once passed, Liberia will have a National Tourism Authority mandated to draw regulations and appropriate governing framework for tourism sector. Establishment of the Office of Ombudsman. Passage of the Code of Conduct for public officials had not had the full effect of the law. A major hurdle is a lack of implementation infrastructure. To this end, there is a need to reestablish the Office of the Ombudsman. When established, this office will supervise and enforce all provisions of the Code of Conduct and will also impose sanctions for infractions. We must begin looking at appointing an individual with a requisite moral standing to head and run the office. Amendment to the new Financial Institution Act. As part of the financial sector reform in 2020, the bank submitted to the Office of the President a new banking law to replace the existing New Financial Act of 1999. The act was submitted to the National Legislature for enactment, but is still pending passage. In the coming days, my administration will work with the leadership of the legislature to ensure new Banking Act is passed into law. Amendment and Restated Payment System Act. An amended and Restated Payment System Act is currently being reviewed by my administration. The act, when passed into law, will help strengthen the means of mobile payments across platforms and enhance the drive towards cashless society. Liberia Insurance Regulatory Commission Act. The Central Bank of Liberia is working on a draft Liberia Insurance Regulatory Commission Act, which is currently being shared with stakeholders for their input, following which it will be submitted to passage into law. We are also working on the draft bill for the National Health Insurance Scheme for Liberia. This scheme is intended to reduce out-of-pocket costs for citizens and enhance access to affordable and quality health care. The Paris Agreement, 2015 Paris Agreement. The threat of climate change to our environment and the way of life is becoming obvious by the day, which is why we must join the rest of the world to address the causes of this phenomenon. I call on the legislature to work with us to begin looking at the Paris Agreement, including the carbon market, to ensure our national interest is protected. The list of protocols, conventions, and other instruments will be forwarded to you for consideration and appropriate action. Road infrastructure development. Expanding and improving road network in our country remains a top priority for our administration. While there has been some progress in the road transport sector during the review period, there remain considerable challenges in the road development. Mr. Vice President, Senator, Speaker, the Honorable Legislature, ladies and gentlemen, the total paved roads in our national network amount to 1,131.1 kilometers, representing 8.7% of the 13,000 kilometer road network we need. This fact underscores considerable challenges in road infrastructure and the urgent need to fund road development in our country. With assistance from friendly partners, the country made notable progress in paving some primary roads, including the corridors, the Banga to Salaye, the Ganta to Sakripye, the Ganta to Yekepa, and the Sanekwe to Lugatu. In addition, as of now, 37.7% of work on the ELBA to RIA road project has been accomplished. To access all county capitals, my government will work to alleviate the problem faced by commuters using these primary roads, especially during the rainy season. The situation also causes major impediments to the development. These primary roads are major economic corridors to all parts of the country. The restoration of county road maintenance station will be a key deliverable. This is why we have commissioned a no car stop in the mud 100-day deliverable to make all major primary roads pliable. Our flagship road delivery program will include the Freeport to the Simple Bridge Road. Having received funding through the government of Japan, we'll begin construction of a 4-lane road from the Gabriel Tucker Bridge to the Freeport of Monrovia. Additionally, the government of Japan is expected to provide funds to expand the Gabriel Tucker Bridge to 4 lanes. The government has also secured additional support from Japan for the conduct of feasibility studies for the expansion of the Freeport to St. Paul Bridge corridor. My government will allocate funds to complete the 6.5 kilometer Freeport to St. Paul Bridge Road. Mr. Vice President, Mr. Speaker, Madam Pro Tempore, and honorable legislators, my government will ensure the funding from the National Road Fund is utilized to maintain and rehabilitate roads for the good of our public. Through the contribution of Liberians who pay their fuel levies from every gallon of gasoline or fuel or they purchase, we will continue to expand about the maintenance program in maintaining our existing network and the construction of new community roads. The honorable legislators, I would like you to join me in extending sincere gratitude to our development partners, which include the European Union, the European Investment Bank, the World Bank, the United States Agency for International Development, the UK Aid, the German government, KfW, and GIZ. I would like to also thank our Arab partners, including the Saudi Fund, the Kuwaiti Fund, Badia, as well as the Japanese government and JICA, the Swedish government, the Chinese government, and this China Aid program, the Norwegian government, the Indian government, the African Development Bank, FDB, and ECOWAS for their many contributions to our infrastructure development. Foreign policy. Mr. Vice President, Mr. Speaker, Madam President Pro Tempore, members of the legislature, as a founding member of the most continental and multilateral institution, we will continue to honor our obligations. Liberia continues to foster cordial relationship with other countries in the community of nations and maintains its current membership with multilateral organizations like the United Nations, ECOWAS, Mono River Union, and the African Union. We will continue to pursue a policy of good neighborliness as we remain in peaceful coexistence with our immediate neighbors. Mr. Vice President, Mr. Speaker, Madam Pro Tempore, honorable legislators. As a nation with a proud history of regional leadership, our standing among the Community of Nations is undermined when we fail to meet our obligation as a sovereign state. Therefore, it is imperative to reclaim our standing in the Community of Nations. My government will work with the legislature to ensure arrears are settled. The civil service. There's an estimated 70,000 employees, including appointed officials in the government of Liberia. These command a total wage bill of $300 million annually. The growth in the size of government has not been proportional to the growth in the revenue and the efficiency and the effectiveness of our government. This means that wage continues to consume a sizable portion of the total budget, strangulating service delivery in all initiatives and obligations of the government. So the government faces the situation stunted growth and non-investment in the lives of the people. To make the government more effective and efficient, we must focus on public service delivery. The people, not the government, must come first. Health. Health and sanitation remain a major priority of our government. My government will prioritize the following: the availability of needed medical supplies and logistics in all public health institutions throughout the length and breadth of the nation. Regular, efficient, and robust monitoring and evaluation of health services in the country to accelerate the reduction of maternal and newborn mortality. The establishment of regional diagnostic centers, regulation of healthcare and pharmaceutical institutions in the country to meet international standards. Our recent experience in Ebola and COVID-19 requires our full support in treating national public health with utmost importance in Liberia as it relates to emergency preparedness and response. This requires a more coordinated way of building a more resilient health infrastructure to address current health challenges and future health shocks. Honorable legislators, the drug epidemic, especially the use of kush, in our country is an existential threat, eating away the future of our children and the country. We must stand up and face this national security race together. Given the need for immediate action to make good my pledge to the thousands of families burdened by this crisis, I am hereby declaring drug and substance abuse as a public health emergency. In this direction, I am establishing a multi-sectorial steering committee comprising the following agencies: the Ministry of Health, with chair, Ministry of Justice, co-chair, Ministry of Youth and Sport, member, Ministry of Gender, Children, Social Protection, member, Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency, member, Ministry of Finance and Development Planning, member. In this fight, me and my vice president will be the first to take drug tests Me and my vice president will be the first to take drug tests, and I urge all others to follow me. Education. Education remains a beacon of hope, but our educational system has been a downward spiral over the years. leaving countless Liberian children without the tools that they need to build a better tomorrow. It is a problem we must confront head-on. Education is not a privilege. It is a fundamental right. We cannot turn a blind eye to the fact that a significant portion of our population is struggling with a lack of access to quality education. And there is no other way that we can genuinely seek to successfully fight poverty without the provision of quality education to our people. Starting now, my administration is making a steadfast commitment to revitalize our educational system. We'll invest in education infrastructure and provide adequate resources. In this, we crave your support. Good governance. Honorable legislators, our commitment to good governance is unwavering. Transparency, accountability, the rule of law will guide our actions. We will fight corruption and build institutions that serve our people's interest. A government that is accountable to its citizens is a government that can truly serve the needs of its people. Mr. Vice President, President of the Senate, Mr. Speaker, members of the legislature, the justice system is meant to protect the innocent and punish the guilty. Has been marred by inefficiency, corruption, and lack of public trust. I am counting on this honorable body to pass effective legislation and support financial appropriation that will help us to win the fight against corruption. Anyone caught in the act of corruption will face the full weight of the law with swift and non-discriminatory enforcement. Democratic elections. Mr. Vice President, Mr. Speaker, Madam President Pro Tempore, and Honorable legislators have had a successive peaceful transfer of power, establishing our credentials of emerging democracy following the Civil War. But while we proudly celebrate this achievement, we are not oblivious to the bottlenecks that regularly attend our elections and mar the electoral process. One of the vexing problems we noted during our past election is voter registration and the associated logistical problem, which tend to frustrate and anger voters and political parties. My government will strengthen the National Identification Registry to build the needed capacity to be able to capture biometric data needed to feed all agencies, including the National Election Commission. In addition, my government will begin to review and implement electoral reform laws. The diaspora. Mr. President of the Senate, Mr. Speaker, members of the legislature, our Liberian brothers and sisters of the diaspora are an integral part of this nation. They are the extension of our national pride. They share in our nation's happiness and sadness. They are readily responsive to the needs of family members and friends in times of difficulty. Liberians in the diaspora have a stake in the future of Liberia, and my administration will be intentional about ensuring that their stake in Liberia is fully honest. I have therefore proposed an annual diaspora conference on the national development. I commend the acts of the 54th legislature and the past administration for their action to remove the unfair burden of citizenship against Liberians who have chosen to explore opportunities in other parts of the world. I am glad that the slogan, once Liberian, always Liberian, now has a meaning. We will establish clear and predictable policies that link where diaspora Liberians can play more meaningful roles in the Liberian future. Necrology. The nation lost some of the prominent citizens during the year in review. Special condolences go to the families of the victims of the tanker explosion in Toronto, Bond County. Among those who have joined our ancestors are former Assistant Minister Mr. Victor Daniel Beku, Ambassador Hannah Abiedu Boyan Jones, 89 years, Commissioner James Joey McGill Sr., 86 years, Deputy Minister Dr. Edward Ingba Goba, 78 years, Senator Daniel Nathan of Wapulu County, and former Deputy Speaker Hans Bachu of Grand Bassa County. We also mourn all those who lost their lives during the just ended legislative presidential election. A fuller list will be published. Mr. Vice President, Mr. Speaker, Madam Pro Tem, and honorable members of the legislature, the state of our nation is in distress, but the hope of our people is alive. We have all it takes to overcome the burden we have imposed on ourselves through greed and corruption. When we work together, there's nothing we cannot overcome as a people. This is why I ask all of you representatives of our people to join me to do the business of the Liberian people by not doing business as usual. The time for mindset shift is now. We must be selfless in our to bring about the change the Liberian people are yearning for. Again, I challenge you to join me to think Liberia, love Liberia, and build it. I want to thank you. May God bless the works of our hands and save the state. Thank you.